Imagine waking up to find that your hair has literally stitched you into the walls of your own home. Kenny and Taye prayed for beauty, but by the third day, their hair had woven into the roof, turning their house into a living cage. But the horror started days earlier. When they arrived at the New Yam festival, their hair didn't just flow, it haunted. In front of the entire village, it began to lash out like black serpents, tearing down tents and turning their miracle into a monster that was still attached to their heads. They wanted the village to notice them. Now, the village was running for their lives. In the village of Oru, every child was born with a crown, that is hair. Some had tight, springy coils, others had thick, dark waves. But when Mama Ife gave birth to her twins, a boy named Kenny and a girl named Taye, the room fell silent. The midwife gasped. The babies' heads were not just hairless, they were as smooth and shiny as polished mahogany. As the years passed, while other children needed combs and shea butter, Kenny and Taye only needed a damp cloth to wipe the dust off their scalps. "Mama," Taye whispered one night, her voice trembling. "The other girls say I am a boy in a wrapper because I have no braids to swing when I dance." Kenny looked down at his feet. "And the boys say I am a weakling because I have no tuft of hair to show my strength in the wrestling ring. Why did the Great Spirit forget us?" Mama Ife hugged them tight. "You both are just as precious as other children with hair," she said, but her eyes were full of pity. By the time they were 16, the sadness had moved from their hearts into their bones. Taye would spend hours staring at her reflection in the stream, rubbing her scalp with palm oil, hoping for a miracle. "Brother," she whispered one evening, "even the goats have fur. Even the birds have feathers. Why did the gods forget us?" Kenny, who wanted to be a great wrestler, felt the shame even more. "The village says a man without hair is a man without a crown," he sighed. "I would give anything to feel the wind pull at my hair." When the twins turned 20, the village prepared for the New Yam festival. It was a time of dancing and beauty. The twins couldn't bear the thought of standing in the square with their bare heads reflecting the sun. One afternoon, while searching for firewood deep in the forest of whispers, the twins wandered further than they should. They reached a stream where the water flowed backward. There was a hut near the river. An old woman, Aya Abba, sat outside. Her silver hair was so long it trailed into the water like sleeping snakes.
"I have been waiting for you, children of the smooth moon,"
she cackled. Her voice sounded like dry corn husks rubbing together.
"You want the crown that the gods denied you?" "Yes! Give us hair, and we will give you our father's finest goat!"
Kenny cried.
"I do not want your goat."
Aya Abba smiled, her eyes milky white. She handed them a jar of thick, violet-colored oil.
"This is the oil of the night spider. Rub it on your heads tonight. By morning, you will be the envy of your village."
She leaned closer, her breath smelling of ancient earth. "But listen well, what grows from the night must never be cut by the sun's metal.
No iron or blade must ever touch this hair. If you break this law, the hair will remember where it came from."
Ignoring the chill in their spirits, the twins took the pot and ran home. That night, in the secrecy of their room, they rubbed the thick, cold oil onto each other's scalps. Kenny also added it to his beard. It felt cold, then searing hot, like 1,000 needles pricking their skin. They fell into a deep, heavy sleep. When the first rooster crowed, Taye woke up and felt a weight on her chest. She screamed, but it was a scream of joy. "Kenny, look!" Kenny sat up. His head and beard was covered in a thick, majestic mane of black hair that fell over his shoulders. But Taye's hair was a miracle. It was a shimmering, silky waterfall that reached her shoulder. "We are beautiful," Kenny shouted, running his fingers through the soft strands. "We are finally whole." When their mother saw them, she screamed, not in horror, but in shock. Standing before her were two children with the most magnificent hair the village had ever seen. The twins didn't just walk into the village square, they paraded. The villagers stopped to look. Chidi, the village bully who had mocked them for years, dropped his bowl of palm wine. "Is that Kenny and Taye?" someone whispered. Taye tossed her head, her hair swirling like a dark cloud.
Look at us now. Is this the head of an egg? Our hair is longer than the chief's daughters. It is softer than the finest silk from the north.
They spent the whole day showing off. They stood on benches so their hair could be seen from afar. They refused to sit on the ground, fearing a single blade of grass might soil their crowns.
Touch it!
Kenny said to a group of awestruck boys.
It is stronger than your ropes. I am no longer just a boy. I am a king!
I am the most beautiful in Oru, Taye boasted, refusing to help her mother with the cooking so she wouldn't stress her curls. Their pride was like a fire, and the villagers' envy was the fuel. But as the sun began to set, the twins felt a strange twitching at the roots of their hair. By the next morning, the miracle began to turn. Kenny, help me, Taye moaned. Her hair had grown another 3 feet overnight. It was now dragging on the floor, picking up dirt, dead leaves, and even small pebbles. Kenny's hair and beard was so thick he could no longer see out of his left eye. It won't stop growing, Taye. I can feel it, it's moving. The hair wasn't just growing, it was a hungry vine. When Taye slept, her hair wrapped itself around the legs of her bed. When they sat down to eat, their hair reached for their plates, soaking up the soup. When they walked, the hair wrapped around their ankles like invisible snakes, trying to trip them. That day was the New Yam festival. By evening the village square was packed. The drums were beating, badu, badu, and the air smelled of roasted yam and palm wine. Kenny and Taye began to dance, but as the drums grew louder, the hair began to pulse. It felt warm. Then, it felt hungry. Suddenly, Taye's hair didn't just swing, it snapped. It lashed out like a whip, knocking a bowl of palm wine from an elder's hand. Taye, stop that. Mama Ife screamed. I can't. Taye cried. Kenny's hair began to move like a nest of black cobras. It reached out and grabbed the support poles of the festival tents, pulling them down with a terrifying roar. The villagers screamed, running in every direction as the twins stood in the center, their hair thrashing like wild animals attached to their skulls. The hair is alive, someone yelled. It's a monster. By the third day, the twins were trapped in their house. Their hair had filled the entire room. It was weaving itself into the bed frames, the chairs, and the thatched roof. Mama, Papa, help us. Taye cried, her voice muffled by the mass of black curls. The village elders gathered outside the hut. They could hear the twins crying, but the hair had grown so thick it had sealed the doors and windows from the inside. It looked like a giant, hairy beast had swallowed the house. Inside, the horror was even worse. The hair was feeding. It was sucking the moisture from their skin, making them thin and pale. It's too heavy, Kenny, Taye sobbed. Her neck was bent under the weight of nearly 50 pounds of hair. It's pulling my head down. I can't lift my chin. We have to cut it, Kenny yelled. I don't care about the old woman's warning. I'd rather be bored and alive than a king in a grave. Their father, Baba Sigan, grabbed his sharpest machete. Stand back, he shouted to the villagers. He swung the iron blade with all his might. Schlick! As soon as the iron touched the hair, a sound erupted from the house that no human should ever hear. It was a high-pitched, metallic shriek. The hair was screaming. Instead of falling to the floor, the cut ends of the hair began to bleed a thick, glowing violet sap. And then came the backfire. The hair didn't stop growing. It began to grow backwards. The roots, sensing the attack, retreated into the twins' scalps. Yeah, Kenny screamed. It's inside my head. It's in my brain. The hair began to sprout from their ears, their nostrils, and under their fingernails. It was trying to turn them inside out. The house began to shake as the hair, still attached to the roof beams, pulled the twins upward, dangling them like puppets. In the midst of the agony, a vision flashed in their minds. They saw the forest of whispers. They saw their own reflections in the violet oil. They didn't see beauty. They saw their own desperation to be liked by people who never truly cared for them. Taye, Kenny gasped, his breath coming in short bursts. It's the pride. We wanted the hair so they would stop laughing, but we are the ones who let their laughter kill us. Taye looked at her brother through the tangle of black vines. I don't want to be beautiful anymore, Kenny. I just want to be me. I am Taye, the smooth one, and I am enough. As they spoke those words from the depths of their souls, the hair stopped its violent thrashing. The violet sap began to dry up. The twins closed their eyes and let go of the crown. They surrendered their vanity. Whoosh! A sudden wind blew through the hut, smelling of fresh rain and ozone. The hair didn't just fall off, it dissolved into grey smoke. The weight lifted. The pressure in their skulls vanished. When the villagers finally broke down the door, they found Kenny and Taye lying on the floor. Their heads were perfectly bald, shining softly in the dim light. They were weak and tired, but for the first time in their lives, they were smiling. Before we go, who wants a shout out? I'm shouting out 5 people in the next video, but first, I need to know, where are you watching from? Drop your location and your name below for a chance to be featured. I'm reading every single comment, so let's see which country has the most viewers today. Kenny and Taye never used oil on their heads again. Years later, when children in the village were born with different traits, the twins, now grown and respected, would sit them down. Don't go looking for a crown in the forest of whispers, Kenny would say, his smooth head gleaming with dignity. Because the only crown worth wearing, Taye would add, is the one you were born with, even if nobody else can see it. The village of Oru changed that day. They no longer mocked the difference, and every New Yam festival, the twins would dance in the center of the square, their bald heads reflecting the sun like 2 brilliant stars, the most beautiful sight in all the land. The end. The twins finally found peace, but the forest of whispers is never truly silent. It makes me wonder, if you were offered a gift that could make your wildest dream come true, but it came with a hidden price, would you still take it? Let me know your answer in the comments. And if this story moved you, hit that subscribe button to join us as we uncover more lost legend stories. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.